Good morning, my dear students. Myself, Dr. T. Raghuraman, Assistant Professor, Department of Automobile Engineering at the School of Mechanical Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. So now this video class, we are going to see about the topic design of connecting rod. It is coming under the course code U18 BCAU 403. The course name is Design of Engine Components. We will first see whatever the things in case of a connecting rod. What we are going to see in the case of a video lecture is we are going to see about introduction, then functions, what is the force analysis, and selection of material, and finally a design procedure. So about a connecting rod, you are seeing the connecting rod. You are already aware about the internal combustion engine components. So you have a cylinder as well as a piston. So the cylinder, if you are seeing, cylinder is being a hollow component and the piston is what a solid component. It is reciprocating inside the cylinder. That is what the working principle of an IC engine. It is well known to all automobile engineers. So once the combustion is taking place, the piston is going to move from the top dead center to bottom dead center. While it is going to make movement, the connecting rod, it is getting connected with the top of a piston, and then it is getting connected with the top of a crankshaft. So it is going to make conversion of this reciprocating motion into a rotary motion. So the connecting rod, it is going to oscillate, so that the reciprocating motion to oscillating, then finally a rotary motion will be getting into the crankshaft, so that you will be getting a power output for the case of an engine main shaft. So that's also getting delivered by means of a timing here. It is also going to operate the valve mechanism. That is what on the next model you are going to see. After the connecting rod, you are going to see about valve mechanism as well as rocker mechanism. So that is what for the opening of an valves, you will be making operation by means of an this tappet as well as a rockers and valve springs. It is going to make opening of an inlet and exhaust valve, so that you will be going to get a continuous cycle. So that is what a connecting rod having the major part. So on the power stroke, it is going to deliver the push effect as well as the pull effect of on a piston. It is going to make conversion into a rotary effect. That's what mainly you are going to see in case of a connecting rod. So the connecting rod, if you are seeing what is this, it is connecting the piston to the crank or crankshaft in a reciprocating piston engine. So it converts the linear motion into a rotating motion. That is what mainly about a connecting rod. So if you are seeing geometry of a connecting rod, so the geometry of connecting rod, if you are seeing, it will be having a long shank, a small end, and a big end. You can be able to see a long shank. So this is what the long shank. This is the main rod beam. That is said to be the long shank, and you will be going to have a small end as well as a big end. You can able to see big end bore, and there will be a small end bore. Okay, so that you will be having a small end and a big end bore, so that you are having a small end bore, that is what said to be a piston pin bore, otherwise it is said to be a wrist pin bore and a cut joint pin bore. So this case, if you are seeing a small end bore, means it is what it is getting connected with the on a piston, and the big end pin, it is what it is getting connected with the on a crank, so that you will be having a split type. The split type it can be able to make by means of a cast inlet bolt. You can able to join it. So it is what you will be able to see the shank portion. That is a mid portion. That is what the main rod beam. So that is having a different cross section. That cross section is being what a circular, tubular, and I section or I section. Majority is used for a I section, because for a high speed engine, the I section having the compatibility to maintain the balancing, so that IXS, IOAY, it is having the similarity, so it is well preferred than that of an other section. So that I section is what mostly preferred, especially for the high speed engine. So this geometry wise, if you are seeing, you can able to see what is the diameter of a castle net. That is what a DC you will be having, and similarly you will be having a I section geometries. All these things you are going to see in case of a design of a connecting rod. That is also we are going to see on the last topic, how to make a design of a connecting rod. Now seeing this, So your functions, as already we mentioned, that's the function. So it is going to transmit either a push or pull for the charge inlet or exhaust. So in the inlet valve, exhaust valve, that is going to make pulling, pushing of on a piston. That is what getting converted, the reciprocating motion to rotary motion. Then by means of this rotary motion, timing gears are arranged so that you are going to make opening of an inlet valve, exhaust valve. That's what you are going to make pushing or pulling of an inlet and exhaust. By means of this connecting knot only you are getting it. So once the combustion is happening from the power stove, you are going to make motion of on a connecting rod. By means of on a reciprocating motion to rotary motion, it is going to get. So now this is what it is transmitting reciprocating motion into a rotary motion. That is what its main function. Also the another function is the lubricant oil from the crank pin to the piston pin will be providing a splash of oil. And then force analysis. In case of a force analysis, a gas pressure. So if you are going to have an opening of inlet valve, then the combustion is taking place at the third power stroke. First you will be having induction stroke, that is TDC to BDC. Then PDC to TDC while it is moving, that is what you will be getting a compression stroke. Then during the power stroke, you will be having a gas pressure. During combustion, the combustion of fuel, that is going to exert a gas pressure. So the expansion of gases is going to happen. That is what you will be having a gas pressure. The gas pressure is what it is acts at the time of an expansion. The gas pressure acts at the time of an expansion. So that is what you will be saying as a power stroke. So force acting on piston gets transferred on small end of connecting rod. And this is what vital in case of a design of cross section and eye of a connecting rod. And next, in case of a force analysis, is what inertia forces. You are seeing once the expansion is happening, then there will be inertia. The piston movement itself, you will be having an inertia. That is what acts after the completion of the exhaust due to vacuum generation. Once the combustion is over, then the exhaust stroke is going to take place from the bottom dead center to top dead center. After that, again you will be having initiation of inlet valve open. That is what a vacuum generation will be created. At that time, there will be inertia forces. That inertia forces is what it is taking place during the suction. Because the first induction stroke, you will be having a suction. The suction takes place due to the inertia forces. So this is also vital for the case of a design of beacon cap and bolts. And if you are seeing the force, the Fp that gives rise to a force Fc, that is the piston force that gives rise to the force on the connecting rod. That is what Fc. Force on the connecting rod is by means of a piston on the piston force. The cap pressure is what actually Fp that is getting rise to the force of a connecting rod force, and a thrust force Fn on the side to the cylinder wall. That is what this one. So if you are seeing, there will be an exertion of gas pressure Fp. That exertion of gas pressure Fp, that is what it is getting, and also you will be having a normal reaction force, thrust force. On the case of a cylinder wall, you will be having the thrust force. This commonly is what it, as a resultant you are going to get a force on the connecting rod. So force on the connecting rod is dependent on the combustion pressure, that is what a Fp, as well as the pressure exerted by means of a thrust from the cylinder walls. Both combinedly you are going to get a force on the connecting rod. That's what you will be getting, a force on the connecting rod. So force on the piston, it is what due to the pressure of gas, due to the combustion, because at power stroke you will be having a combustion. So at the time you will be having the force on the piston. That's what you can able to see pressure in the area. So the pressure in the area will be what? It is acting on this piston area. So piston area is what? It's a circular cross section. So that it is pi d square by 4. D is being what? Diameter of the piston. So if you are seeing inertia force upon a reciprocating force, that can be calculated. So it is F equal to, we know F equal to what? According to Newton's second law of motion, F equal to ma, the same thing only. F equal to mass into acceleration. Here the mass we are considering is the piston reciprocating mass, and for acceleration there is a derivation, it's omega square r into cos theta plus cos 2 theta by n. And Fp, that will be force due to gas pressure minus or plus inertia force. So that the force on the case of a piston, it is what? Force due to gas pressure Fm as well as this inertia force. Addition of these two is what we will be having the force on the piston. And from the figure we can able to see that the force in the connecting rod at any instant can be derived as Fc that will be equal to Fp by cos phi. So that is further by derivation you are getting that Fp by square root of 1 minus sin square theta by n square. Where theta is what is a crank angle. Okay, so it's dependent on the theta. Okay, as well as the force on the piston. So that connecting rod force can be identified. So the failure of connecting rod as seen will be having mainly a buckling as well as a wiping stress. Buckling, if you are seeing, it is takes place whenever there is a considerable length in proportion to its breadth. Similarly, wiping stress, the transverse component of force acting on connecting rod tries to bend it in the S shape. So selection of material for the case of a connecting rod, the selection of material will be medium carbon steel, that is being a carbon percentage of 0.35% to 0.45% for industrial engines, and also alloy steel will be used for the case of automobile or aircraft engines. That is what you will be having nickel chromium or chromium molybdenum. So this is a exploded view of a connecting rod. You have a plain bearing as well as a cap, and there will be a studs and nuts. And this is what the larger portion of a connecting rod. That is what here it is a shank. Okay, and then a smaller end. This is what getting connected with a piston pin. Then with a connecting rod. So now we are going for a design procedure of connecting rod. So while considering about a design procedure, first we will be considering about a dimension of cross section of the connecting rod. Then the second one is dimensions of the crank pin at the big end and the piston pin at the small end. So first thing what we are seeing is the dimension of cross section of the connecting rod. Majorly we are considering it as an I-beam. Then dimension of the crank pin at the big end and the piston pin at the small end. So we will be having a crank pin at the big end and the piston pin on the small end. We will be having a small end. This is where we are going to have a connection with the on a piston. So piston pin is going to connect so that you will be having a gut joint pin, and then a dimension of crank pin at the big end and the piston pin at the small end. And the third thing is being a size of bolt for securing the big end cap. So you will be having the bolt in the case of a big end cap. If you are seeing, you will be having the rod bolt. So that also you are required to calculate what will be the diameter of the bolt it is needed, because it has to withstand the pressure, the compression pressure it is happening. That is what it is giving you a pushing and pulling force on the piston. Since the piston is connected with this connecting rod, then you have to get consideration about the design procedure for the case of a bolt. Also you have to give an importance, because this bolt nut design that has to withstand that compression pressure. So that what will be the resisting force for that has to be get equated with that of a combustion pressure. So then thickness of a big end cap. What will be the thickness of a big end cap? That's also you are required to design. So these tips you are going to say in depth, and also one problems will be there for solving this. So now the first step is being what? A dimension of cross section of the connecting rod. So if you are seeing a dimension of cross section, as we had already seen, there are cut section also there and circular section also there, but I section is what mostly prefer because of the consideration of buckling. If you are consider the buckling, then to make it strengthful both in x axis and y axis, then the equal type of an I section is what preferred. And dimension of cross section, if you are seeing, this is a dimension of cross section. It is adapted for the case of an connecting rod I section. So there will be a height of an flange as well as the web portion. The thickness will be T. So you have the correlation of the thickness with the height of flange is being 5T, and in the web portion also you will be having the T. Then you are having the breadth of an 4T. That is what it is said for the case of an connecting rod I section. So pressure acting on a connecting rod, that will be what? The area of the piston into maximum pressure acting on piston. So the pressure acting on connecting rod, it is getting equal with that of an area of piston into maximum pressure acting on the piston. So the thickness that can be identified using a Rankine formula. We are going to see the Rankine formula in the upcoming slide. So using Rankine formula, you can be able to determine the thickness. Once you have determined the thickness, then you can identify the width and the height. Width will be what? It is 4 times of the thickness, and the height will be 5 times of the thickness, so that you can able to identify the remaining dimensions of an I section. So now you are going to see about the Rankine formula. For that, you are considering A is being cross-sectional area of the connecting rod, and L is being a length of connecting rod, and sigma C, that is being compressive yield stress, and WB is the buckling load, and IXS and IYY, that will be what? Moment of inertia of the section about x-axis and y-axis respectively. So IXS is what? Moment of inertia about x-axis, and YYY is what? Moment of inertia about y-axis. Similarly, KXS is radius of gyration of friction about x-axis, and KYY is the radius of gyration about y-axis. And according to Rankine formula, there is a correlation for this buckling load. So buckling load can be calculated using sigma C into A divided by 1 plus A into L by KXS whole square whenever both ends are hinged. At the time you will be considering the capital L value as 1. If both ends are fixed, then you will be considering L value will be getting substituted as small l by 2. Then the final equation it will be getting varied. Instead of L you will be putting small l by 2. Length of the connecting rod, it is just considered will be half of the capital L. Okay, so that is what in a Rankine formula. This Rankine formula is what you are making use to identify the thickness of the I section. Once you are identifying thickness of I section, then width and height of the I section can be identified using the relation you have seen, that 5T and 4T. You can able to identify the remaining dimensions. So here the L is capital L is what? Equivalent length of the connecting rod, and the A is considered to be a constant. This constant value will be 1 by 7,500 for the case of mild steel, and 1 by 9,000 for the case of wrought iron, and 1 by 1,600 for the case of cast iron. And about a dimension of crank pin at the big end and the piston pin at the small end. So we know about the maximum gas force. So already we have seen that is being area of piston pi d square by 4 into pressure. So pi d square 4 into P, that is what? A maximum gas force. And we are knowing D is being a cylinder bore or piston diameter in mm, and small p is what? Maximum gas pressure in Newton per mm square. And you will be noting that the dimension of crank pin and piston pin are determined as discussed below. That is, you will be letting the diameter of crank pin as d suffix c, and L suffix c is what? A length of crank pin, and small p suffix dc is allowable bearing pressure in Newton per mm square, and d suffix p and L suffix p and d suffix pp, that is being what? Corresponding value for the case of a piston pin, because we have a crank pin as well as piston pin, because you have one end is connected with that of a piston and another end is connected with that of a crank, so that we have to consider the value of a diameter and length for the case of the both the end, crank side as well as piston side. So we know the load on the crank pin, that is being what? Projected area into bearing pressure. So projected area will be what? The diameter into length into the pressure is being P suffix BC. And similarly load on the piston pin, it is being diameter of the piston and length of the piston into pressure on the piston, bearing piston on the pressure, whatever it is, that will be what? A load on the piston. So that will be what? Load means it is being area into pressure. So area into pressure is going to give you. And as we have seen, the equation 1 is being what? This is the gas pressure. We had already seen that we have to equate with a resisting force. So load on the crank pin, that will be what? Equal to the projected area into bearing pressure, that we have seen as the second equation. And the load on the piston we have seen as dPLP into PPP, that is what? Load on piston pin. By making these three equations, so you are equating this equation 1 and 2, load on the crank pin will be equated to load on the piston pin. So you will be taking LC value as 1.25 DC to 1.5 DC. The value of DC and LC are determined from the above expression. Again, by equating this equation 1 and 3, we can have the FL value, that is being TPLB into PBP. That is, for a crank pin we are making a relation of this FL, and also we are making a relation of this FL with that of a piston side. So the same thing we can able to take the LP value 1.5 to 2 dP, like we had considered for the case of an expression for the case of a crank pin. For a piston pin also we can have the value that can be taken 1.5 times of the diameter of the piston to 2 times of the diameter of the piston tube. Then considering about size of the bolt for securing the big end cap, now you have to make equating the resisting force offered by the bolts and studs, that it will be getting equated with the gas pressure. So now we are going to see the bolt and big end cap are subjected to tensile force that correspond to inertia force of the reciprocating force at the top dead center on the x-axis. So we know that inertia force of the reciprocating force, that is what we had already seen derivation, that based on that the Fi value will be m1 into omega square r into cos theta plus cos 2 theta by L by R. We also know that at top dead center, the angle of inclination of the crank with the line stroke, that will be theta will be substituted as 0, so that Fi value will become m1 into omega square r into 1 plus r by L, because we know cos 0 value is being value 1. So that's what you will be getting the value as reduced to 1, and here also you will be getting r by L because this value is being 1. So now where mr, what is the mr? That will be the mass of reciprocating bar, or the omega is what? It's said to be angular speed of the engine, and the small r is what? Radius of the crank in meter, and small l is length of connecting rod in meters. And about thickness of big end cap, that is the final procedure. In the design procedure, it is the last one. So thickness of the big end cap may be determined by treating the cap as a beam that is freely supported at the cap bolt centers and located by the inertia force at the top dead center on the exhaust tube. That is what Fi will be whenever V equal to 0, velocity is 0, that stage you can consider it is as an beam. So the load is assumed to act in between the UDL, that is what a uniformly distributed load, and the centrally concentrated load. Concentrated load is what? It is a point load. So therefore, the maximum bending moment acting on the cap will be taken as the m suffix c on the cap. What is the maximum bending moment? That can be taken as Fi into x by 6. And also here the x value is what? A distance between the bolt center, that will be equal to diameter of crank pin or big end bearing, plus 2 into thickness of bearing liner, that is 3 mm thickness of bearing liner, and plus clearance you are giving 3 mm. So now let we see that it's being what? Width of the cap in mm, it is equal to the length of the crank pin or big end bearing, and sigma b is allowable bending stress for the material of the cap in megapascal. We know that section modulus for the cap, that is Z is what section modulus symbol, Z suffix C in the connecting rod, that is cap, okay. So it will be PC into TC square by 6. So therefore the bending stress we are doing, the sigma B will be equal to bending moment by section modulus. So MC we had already calculated, and ZC we are having BC TC square by 6. So MC value we had already seen that it is Fi into x by 6. So divided by this BC TC square by 6, at the next step it will get as reversed 6 by BC TC square. So by simplification you will be getting Fi into x divided by BC into TC whole square. So from this expression we can able to identify what will be the thickness of the big end cap. Now we will see solving a problem by using the design procedure we have seen. So we are required to design a connecting rod of an IC engine that is running at 1800 rpm and developing a maximum pressure of 3.15 Newton per mm square. Diameter of piston is being 100 mm, and the mass is given, small m value is given as 2.25 kg, and the length of connecting rod is given as 380 mm. So L value is given. So stroke of piston, it is being what, 180 mm, and the compression ratio is 6:1. Anyway, compression ratio we are not using, it is being a superfluous data. And we have a factor of safety 6 for the design, and you are required to take the length to diameter ratio for bearing as 1.3 and small end bearing as 2, and corresponding bearing pressure also given as 10 Newton per mm square and 15 Newton per mm square. Density of the material is given, it is being 8,000 kg per meter cube, and allowable stress is 60 Newton per mm square, and in the case of a bolt it is given 60, but in cap it is given 80 Newton per mm square. So the rod is given it as I section. If it is not given, we have to choose it as I section. That is what preferred one, because we are especially required to design for a high speed engine. If it is not specified in the problem, then it will be assumption will be with I section. But in the problem they have given I section. You are required to draw the neat dimension sketch showing provision for lubrication and use Rankine formula for which the numerator constant may be taken as 320 Newton per mm square and the denominator constant as 1 by 7500. So we have seen what is the denominator constant for different cases of material, but in this problem they had a given 1 by 7500 has to be chosen. Okay. So now we will be knowing the maximum bending moment for the case of a simply supported or freely supported beam with the uniformly distributed load Fi over a length x between the support. So the x will be what distance between the cap bolt centers, that will be Fi into x divided by h. And also the load Fi is assumed to act at the center of the freely supported beam. If you are taking a beam supported with a midpoint load, then the bending moment will be Fi into x by 4. So we have to take an average of this. So maximum bending moment in between these two bending moment, that is Fix by 8 as well as Fix by 4. Average we are going to take it as Fix divided by 6. This is what we have to consider as a bending moment for the case of a connecting rod. So now in given data, what are they are given? Speed is given as well as maximum pressure value is given, diameter of the piston given, mass of reciprocating part is given, length of a connecting rod given, stroke of the piston is given, compression ratio is given. Anyway, it's a superficial data, but we have tried as it is a given data. Again, factor of safety is 6. So now for the designing, first we are considering about dimension of I section of the connecting rod. So now let us consider the I section of the connecting rod with the following proportion. That's what in a design procedure we had seen. So that design procedure we had seen the thickness as well as the height of the I section as well as the width of the I section. So we are going to make use of this. So flange and web thickness is being what T and width of the section is 4T and the depth of height of the section is being 5T. So first let us find whether the section of chosen is satisfactory or not. That's what you have to choose first. So now we have already discussed why you are selecting I section. It is for the buckling. For a buckling consideration, we are considering an I section. So because it is going to balance both the x-axis and y-axis, that's what again further we are discussing. So the connecting rod should be equally strong in buckling about both the axes. So we will be preferring I section. And in this case of an I section, we will be having Ixx that will be equal to 4Iyy. There is a separate derivation for that. But in a problem, we are directly using this correlation. For the case of an I section, the correlation between Ix and Iyy will be 4 times of an Iyy will be what Ixx value. So that Ixx is, we are knowing it already, moment of inertia of the section about x-axis, x-axis, and also about y-axis, moment of inertia we are considering, that is what Iyy. So now in actual practice, Ixx should be kept slightly less than that of this 4 Iyy. That's what it is usually taken as 3 and 3.5 and the connecting rod designed for buckling about x-axis. So now we will consider in this area of a section. So area of a section, if you are seeing, A will be equal to 2 into 4T into T, because we are having two rectangular sections here. We are having a 4T is what? Width of the I section, and here you are having T. That's what 4T into T. Here one rectangle, another rectangle is here. That's what you are putting 2 into 4T into T. And plus 3T into T. Here mid section is what 3T, and this is what having a thickness T. So 3T into T. This rectangle is 3T into T. That's what you are considering area of this section. So that is getting calculated as 11T square. And by calculating Ixx we are having the standard formula 1 by 12 BD cube. BD cube by 12 is what moment of inertia for a rectangle section that we had already laid in engineering mechanics. So that BD cube by 12, B is being what? The width, that is being what? 4T. So that is 4T. And depth is being what? Entirely it is 5T cube. So first you are considering this entire rectangle. Okay, that is what? We will be having BD cube by 12. So that's what B is 4 and D is being 5T. And you are required to subtract these two rectangular sections. So that is what you are making minus. Okay. So this two rectangular section you can add and you can make as one rectangular section, so that it will be having what? So 4T minus T will be getting 3T as its width. That is the width. And depth is being what? It is being 3T. That is what D cube. B is 3T and D cube we will be substituting this 3T, because we know the formula is BD cube by 12. so that you are making the substitution. So you are getting, by simplification, you are getting in terms of t value, ix is equal to 419 by 12 t power 4. So Iyy also in a similar way you are calculating an Iyy. So by simplification, so in Iyy while you are solving the same thing bdq by 12. Okay. So in by calculating Iyy, you are considering two rectangle and one rectangle at the middle, so that you will be making a calculation and simplifying for Iyy. Now taking the ratio of this Ixx by Iyy, that is giving you a value 3.2. That's what you are seeing. So in actual practice, Ixx is what it is kept slightly less than 4 Iyy. So Ixx now it is equal to what? 3.2 Iyy. It is not exactly the 4, but now it is getting slightly less than that. It is being 3.2 times of Iyy. So that is what the section chosen is quite satisfactory. It has to be get less than that of 4 Iyy. If it is exceeding, then the design is not being safe. Then you have to change the dimensions. So now we will be seeing, let us going to find the dimension. As you have seen, the design is being safe. Now you are going to make a calculation of an t value through a Rankine formula. So you will be making first calculation of an gas pressure. That is what area acting on the piston area, that is pi d square by 4 into P, that is pressure. So by that you will be getting d value is 100, that is given in the problem, and pressure also given, it is being 3.15 Newton per mm square. By making the substitution and solving, you are getting the value as 24740 Newton. And we are also knowing that connecting rod is designed for buckling about the x-axis. That is what the plane of motion of connecting rod, assuming both ends will be hinged. Then the factor of safety also given in the problem as 6. So buckling load we can calculate, that is being this gas pressure into factor of safety, so that you are identifying it as 148440 Newton. And we will be knowing the radius of gyration of the section about the x-axis. For a radius of gyration, there is a formula square root of I by a. So Ixx we had already calculated, that divided by a value also we had calculated as 11 t square. So by divided by a, so it is getting 1 by 11 t square with multiplication. So by simplification, you are getting the value as 1.78 times of t. That is for a radius of gyration. And now length of crank, that is being stroke of piston by 2. So stroke of piston it is given in problem. So 190 you are substituting. So you are identifying what is the length of the crank. And also length of connecting rod it is given in problem itself. So that is being 380 mm. So the equivalent length will be, for the case of both end hinge, that will be equivalent to the length of connecting rod. So you are taking the equivalent length is equal to 380 mm. Now you are going to make application of Rankine formula for the buckling load. For a buckling load, you are making equation. Buckling load we have calculated as already 148440, and that will be equated to the Rankine formula. So in the Rankine formula, what we have to assign for A, it is given in data. In question paper itself, it is given. In a question, it is given as 1 by 7500. So that's what we are substituting here. And also sigma c also given in the problem. So that is being 320. So that is what substituted. This we had calculated. Area already we calculated as 11 t square, and the kxx value also you had calculated as 1.78 t. So that only you are making substitution and you are making a calculation for the identification of unknown t value. So now only unknown is what? Here t value is unknown. So using this Rankine formula, you can able to identify the t. Once t is identified, then you can substitute that for the identification of width as well as the height of the I section. So now you are making a calculation. So by the calculation, you will be simplifying it into a quadratic equation. So you can keep x value as t square, so that you can able to make what is the t square value. From that you can identify what will be the t value. So the quadratic equation, instead of x you can take t square, so that t square value once you are identifying, then you can take a square root, you can identify what will be the t value. And while considering the positive value only we are going to consider, because we know quadratic equation there will be a plus or minus, but thickness it cannot be a negative value. So it is always having some positive values. So positive sign only we are going to consider. If it is getting any negative, it is not a logic, so that we are removing that. Only positive we are considering. So by calculation, we are getting thickness of the flange is being 6.9 mm. That's what you are rounding it to 7 mm. So now, as you are knowing, the thickness is being 7 mm. You are substituting it for identification of width of section and depth of the section, so that we have the values for width as well as height as well as thickness of the width flange. Everything is calculated now. So that's what the dimensions are at the middle of the connecting rods. So in the section shank portion is there. That is what at the middle of the portion. So that is what you will be making use of the dimensions of the connecting rod I section. So the depth near the big end that will be kept as 1.1 times size of h to 1.25, and the depth near the small end will be kept as 0.75 h to 0.9 h. So now if you are taking depth near the big end, that will be 1.2 h as an average between this, so that you can able to calculate it as 42 mm, and average on here 0.75 to 0.9 we are taking 0.85 h. Further the calculation depth near a small end will be 30 mm. So dimension of section near big end we will be taking as 42 into 28 mm, because we have already identified width of section, and the remaining the depth near the big end, what is the value of an h value that we had calculated. So 42 into 28 mm. Similarly, this value 30, that is getting multiplied with the same 28 mm. 30 mm into 28 mm, that is what the cross section area. So now the connecting rod is what it is manufactured by forging. So therefore, the sharp corner of I section are rounded off, so that for a easy removal of section from the die, it is required to round it off. This sharp portion you have to round it off because it is getting manufactured by means of forging, so that the sharp corner should be rounded off like this. So the I section that will be getting rounded off. And the second procedure is for the calculation of dimension of crank pin or the big end bearing, because crank pin is what big end bearing, and the small end bearing is what piston side, that is piston pin, that is what a small end bearing. So for this we are assigning TC is being diameter of crank pin, and LC is being length of the crank pin, and PVC is what bearing pressure, that is given data in the question itself, that is 10 Newton per mm square. And we will be knowing the load on the crank pin or big end bearing is projected area into bearing pressure. So by that we can able to make a correlation with the load to the DC value. Okay, so that crank pin or big end bearing is designed for the maximum gas force. Therefore, equating the load on the crank pin or big end bearing to the maximum gas force is can be identified. That value of diameter of crank pin will be identified by equating with that of a maximum gas force. So load value you are equating with that of a maximum gas force. So that FL value you are already calculated, it is being F24740 Newton. Now we had a load on crank pin, that is what 13 DC square. Both you are equating, so that unknown value of DC can be identified. As once we are identifying the DC value, we had a correlation of LC with that of a DC, that is being 1.3 times of a DC, so that we can able to identify what will be the length of the crank pin. That is also getting identified. So the big end has a removable precision bearing shells or brass or bronze or steel material with a thin lining of 1 mm or less of bearing metal such as a babbitt. And again we are letting for the case of a small end bearing. So crank pin big end bearing side we have finished. Now we are going for the small end bearing side. So we are again considering diameter on the piston pin. Previously we considered the diameter on the crank pin side. Now we are coming to piston pin side. So similarly length of the piston pin. So that is given in problem, and what is the bearing pressure, that is given in problem for the piston bearing pressure. So the similar way we are calculating projected area into bearing pressure for the piston side also, and we are getting a correlation. So now we are again equating with the maximum gas force. We are equating load on the piston pins or a small end bearing to the maximum gas force. So the same 24740 Newton, we are now equating with this 30 pp square. So that now only unknown is what, this dp. So diameter of piston pin or a small end bearing, that is also can be identified. So by calculation you are getting the diameter of piston as it is being 28.7 mm. So that is what approximately we will be saying it as 29 mm. And similarly, we had a correlation of an LP, that is being 2 times of the value of diameter of P. So we are identifying it as 58 mm. Now coming to the third procedure, that is what the size of bolt for securing the big end cap. So for this, we are letting core diameter of the board as GCP and allowable tensile stress as sigma T and the number of bolts as NB. Generally, in terms of connecting rod, 2 bolts will be used. As you had seen already in the design procedures, also in the sketch you have seen, both this being a split type, both sides each nut will be used one nut. So the 2 bolts is what in generally it is getting used. So the force on the board that can be calculated using this relation pi by 4 GCP square into sigma T into MB. So that is getting equated. What is the known value is given in the problem itself 60. Okay, and the number of bolts also we are using 2, so that we are getting the value as GCP square into 94.26. That is what force on the board, and we will be knowing the force on the beacon are subjected to tensile force that correspond to the inertia force of the reciprocating force of the duct center on the exact stroke. So we know the inertia force of the reciprocating force. This is what we had seen in the design procedure itself. And now we are having the inertia force, and we are going to have a x-axis stroke. If you are seeing, the crank angle will be 0. So if you are substituting 0, it will become what? The value will become 1. 1 plus 1 divided by L by R, then it will become R by L. That's what you have seen already. So now you are going to make substitution of known values. This mass of reciprocating force is given, as well as omega value is given, and also the radius of crank, everything is known. You are making all the substitution, and you will be identifying what is the inertia force. Why are identifying inertia force? To equate with the already identified equations. So now we are already identifying 94.26 GCP square. With this, we are equating this inertia force, because the inertia force is what it has to get balanced by means of a force and force. This inertia force is exerted by means of a combustion pressure. You will be having a inertia force. That inertia force has to be compensated by means of force and force. That is what you are equating. So through that you are going to get what is the diameter of the bolt. So the nominal diameter of the bolt, now you are getting calculation of a DCP, core diameter. So there is a correlation. If you have to identify the nominal diameter, then the nominal diameter is, if you are seeing with the core diameter, the core diameter is being 0.84 times of the nominal diameter. From that correlation, it is already in the design of threads, we have seen that concept. That's what we will be having a diameter of bolt, that is DCP by 0.84. So that by means of the calculation, you will be identifying it as 11.94. So you are rounding it to 12 mm. And this is the final procedure. Thickness of beacon cap. For this, you are let thickness of the beacon cap is being DC and width of the beacon cap is being BC. And we have calculated it already as 58 mm. And sigma B is 80 Newton per mm square. That is allowable bending stress. That is already given in the problem. So the beacon cap is designed as a beam freely supported at the cap bolt center and loaded by means of inertia force. Whenever the theta is 0, we will be having the freely supported case, and even we have solved the formula's derivation for the theta equal to 0. So since the load is assumed to act in between the uniformly distributed load and the centrally concentrated load, the maximum bending moment is taken as Fy into x by 6. This is what you have seen in the previous design procedure also, where x is being what distance between the bolt centers. For that you are having a correlation, and on the correlation DC value we had already identified as 44 mm, and thickness of bearing liner will be taken as 3 mm, and also the clearance will be taken as 3 mm. That only you are substituting, and the nominal diameter of bolt also we are identified as 20 mm. So by substituting on this value, we are identifying the x value as 65 mm. So now this 65 mm you are going to substitute here, so that you can able to identify what will be the maximum bending moment. So section modulus is what you can see that will be identified DC square by 6. So only unknown is being TC. So now as only unknown is TC, we can able to identify the TC, because bending stress it is already given in the problem. We are knowing bending stress will be what? It is equal to bending moment by section modulus. So bending stress it is given in problem, so that it will be equal to bending moment divided by section modulus. Only unknown is being what? The TC value. So that by simplification we are going to identify what is the TC value. So now let us check the design for the induced bending stress due to the inertia bending force on the connecting rod, that is the wiping stress. So we know the mass of the connecting rod per meter length. That will be mass of the connecting rod will be what? Volume into density. So area into length into density. So area we had already calculated, that is being derived as 11 T square into length into density rho. And by making a calculation, we are getting a mass of the connecting rod as being 1.64 kg, because the density is given in the question 8,000 kilogram per meter cube. So that's what you are substituting and you are identifying the mass. So now for a maximum bending moment, you will be making a formula Mmax equal to M omega square R into L by 9 root 3. So by substitution, you are going to see, by a substitution you are getting Mmax value, that is getting 51300 Newton per mm, and the section modulus value you are getting Zx is equal to Ix by 5t by 2, and by calculation you are getting Zxx value as 4792 mm cube, and we are having maximum bending stress, that will be what, sigma b equal to m by Zx. So our maximum bending stress value is getting 10.7. Anyway, our maximum bending stress allowable is what, it is 80 Newton by mm square. So it is coming within this 80 Newton per mm square only, so that design will be safe. If it is exceeding this 80, then design is not safe. So we have identified all the dimensions. So finally, you are going to write all the identified dimensions. So dimension of I section of connecting rod we have identified, and also dimension of crank pin at a big end bearing side as well as piston end side we have identified. You are making a summary of all the dimensions, and then size of bolts for securing the big end cap, and finally thickness of big end cap. So thank you very much.